Welcome to another allotment diary. Today we're down there quite early. It's nice and peaceful. The sky's blue. Just look over there, you can see lovely blue sky. We haven't seen that for quite some time, so that's rather pleasant. So I imagine today it's going to be quite busy down here, even though it's a Sunday. Now you can see here my potato bed. Remember I planted the potatoes, and I used a technique where I didn't do the trench technique, because as far as I'm concerned that's an awful lot of work. It takes a lot of time and a hell of a lot of effort, and I did it one year, and frankly just digging one trench half killed me, and here I've got 3 rows, and I've got about another 4 or 5 rows to put in. So frankly doing the trenches would be far too much like hard work. So you saw the method I did. I'm going to do it again in a minute over here, but the method works, and you can see that the potatoes are looking brilliant. They're all coming up. They are late starters. That's my fault for planting them late, but you can see that as of yet they don't really need earthing up. That's one of the advantages of this technique, is that you don't have to earth them up, or if you do, it's very little. But I'm going to get some compost and just throw a bit of compost on there, and then that's going to condition the soil as well. My compost heap is still under construction in the corner there. There's 2 pallets nailed together with some weed fabric over the top, and there's going to be some more pallets going over on it to construct the walls. This is the pile of weed, and you can see it's ever growing. Once the compost heap is constructed, obviously I'm going to start putting that into the compost heap, and then that's going to be a lot easier for me. Now I've started building an edge here. You can see there's a couple of those. Unfortunately I haven't got any more of those. That's what was left on the plot. So what I will be using is these old decking boards, and they're going to be buried in just along the side there, just to mark off the edge, so I know where the edge of the plot is, because it's quite difficult to tell, because you can see here, you know, the soil is coming out over onto the path, and it makes it very hard to work out where the path ends and the plot begins, and obviously the weeds kind of get in the way. So once I put this sort of edging in, I can then use an organic weed killer on this side and very easily kill off weeds on the path, and the allotment's going to look an awful lot neater. Now yesterday I continued to dig this plot. Unfortunately rain has stopped play in the last week or two, or last week or so now, and there's not been a lot of time down here. So I've almost finished this plot now. You can see I've literally just got this square here to dig, and then give it a good rake over, and you can see there's a bucket full of stones that's come out of just a small bit I dug yesterday. So that's going to get finished right now, and the potatoes putting in. Now over here is an overgrown plot. Yes, I know it looks terrible, but look, there are tons and tons of potatoes in here. Absolutely loads of the blooming things. So I don't know what happened on this plot last year, but there are potatoes absolutely everywhere. So I might leave those there, because I'm not sure I'm going to have time to do all of this plot this year. So that plot might just get weeded around and then dug over. Now, the broad beans here aren't... Oh, they are. Oh, look. I just found the broad beans. I've actually got some broad beans on. You can see some... You just get some grass out of the way. Some broad beans there. Those were overwintered from last year, left here by the gentleman who had the plot before me, and yeah, I'm quite pleasantly surprised there's some broad beans on that. I was not expecting that. So that's a nice surprise. And you can see here is rhubarb. This is the one I moved. It's obviously having an issue with slugs and snails, which should go away once I clear the plot. But there's all sorts in here. I mean, look, there's some sort of iris there. Who knows where that's come from? There's more potatoes on this side of the plot as well. So the planting seems to have been quite random, to be really honest with you. But you know, there's some good stuff on there, and I'm having fun making discoveries. This obviously used to be a pea bed, and you can see there's loads of peas there. The parsnips were in that bed behind, which I've obviously pulled up now. So we'll leave that for now. There's loads of strawberry plants all down the side here. So these are going to be dug up and rehomed. There's another pretty flower there. There's loads more pretty flowers over there. There's raspberries galore here. So all these need organising, putting into proper beds, and rehoming. Now over here is our little apple tree. You can see there's no fruit on it. I doubt it'll fruit this year, to be honest. But it's looking good. Solid tree. Peas are starting to come up. They are getting nibbled a little from, I'm assuming, slugs or something. But what I'm going to do is there's not anywhere near as many as I wanted to have come up. There's quite a lot that don't seem to have germinated, but there's a few coming up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it another few days. Then I'm going to soak a load of pea seeds and basically overnight, and then come down and stick them in the gaps in between all these rows of peas. Hopefully you'll remember where I planted them, because I can't, so I'm going to have to re-watch that video of how everything was planted. And all I'm doing here for weed control, you can see, if we just come out a bit there, we can see there's these little weeds coming up. There's going to be plenty of them. All I'm doing is, because I'm very wary of damaging the peas when they're this small, what I'm doing is I'm just using the end of my trowel and just knocking the tops off the seeds. They're small enough that frankly they're not going to survive. And you can see there is one of these thistles. These things are cropping up absolutely everywhere, and I can't believe how quickly they grow. I did this yesterday and there was no thistles on the surface, and look, there's one there today. So that's popped up literally overnight. So they're growing very, very quickly. We come over here, right, now in the middle here, I've used a bit of organic weed killer, because there's a path down the middle here. It's a bit bigger than I'd have liked the path, to be honest with you. If I was designing this, I'd have made a thinner path, but I like to really maximise the use of space. So what I'm going to do, because there's 4 raised beds here, what's going to happen is these bits in the middle here are going to have some bark chippings on, and they're going to be paths, and I can then put things in pots on these paths. One of these raised beds, I haven't decided which one yet, probably the one with all the buttercups in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dig the soil down slightly so it's below the top of the raised beds, and then I'm going to get some glass panels and lay them across the top, and that'll make a cheap and cheerful cold frame for use next year. And here we can see the green gauge, which is looking quite good. Again, it's not likely to fruit. There's a little visitor on there. Don't know who he is, but he doesn't seem to be causing any harm. He's just sort of sitting there. But you can see it's starting to bud up nicely. There's lots of leaf growth. So can't grumble at that one. There's quite a lot from the base, which I think I'm going to have to pull off, because I suspect these are probably grafted. So any growth from the base will be from the original rootstock, which obviously we don't want. But that's looking very good. You can see that's looking quite nice there. So again, not likely to fruit this year, but I think it will next year. What I will do though is I found another small apple tree at home in the garden, one that I had in the pot and I've had for a number of years. So I will bring that one down. Whether it stays in the pot or not, I haven't decided yet, but I'll bring that down and I will locate that. Maybe we'll go on the bark that's going to be there. Now here it's going to be all barked as well. You can see that you've got the roadway here, and then obviously my Dalek bin, and then my junk pile there. That's all for the tip. Some of this is what I use to cover part of the plot. Others is stuff that I found whilst I've been clearing this plot. There's also a wooden box under there that again I can put some glass on and use as a cold frame, but this all needs clearing out. This is all going to be chipped as well, and I've got some lavender plants as well at home, which I'm going to use to make a hedge along the side here, all the way along, which will really start to attract the bees in, which will be really, really nice. I've got 12 of them, so if they all survive, should make a nice hedge, and should possibly even just go down there a little bit as well. Over on the other plot, it's still full of weeds. We're going to be trying to dig this possibly later today or tomorrow. I just need to clear a spot at the other allotment first for my for some onions. So once I've done that, I'm coming over here. This is all going to get dug, and then I will I'll get my pumpkins and courgettes and things like that in. Now this is the giant parsnips. You can see there, let me just stand in the way so the sun's not dazzling. You can see there, quite pretty flowers. So I'm going to let these seed, I think, and then I'll collect the seeds and use them next year. These were planted last year. I suspect the stems are too woody to really be used. So you can see they're about 6 foot tall. So they don't half grow. They're big plants. Now I did plant some garlic a while ago now actually, and there it is. Let me just sign it up. I pulled some up the other day, and you can see it's not really formed into proper bulbs. Some of this garlic's been there for 2 years, but you can see on the, again let me just turn around so the sun's not dazzling, on the leaves there you can just about see there's little red spots, which is a rust that affects these. That's a bit of a problem. It sits in the ground, so really I can't plant garlic in the same area again this year, or perhaps for a couple of years. But I'm not sure I'm going to grow garlic again because, frankly, it's just not doing a lot. So I'm not sure I'm going to grow garlic again. I might give it a go with a different type. But anyway, that's consigned to my ever-growing compost heap over this side. All of this will be at some stage taken to a tip. Again, this was last year's potato plot, and surprise, surprise, there's potatoes. In fact, there's potatoes absolutely everywhere. In fact, there's even potatoes over there, which was a potato plot about 2 years ago. So, can't get away from the damn things. And finally, let's have a quick look in at our rhubarb. Remember I picked 4 giant stalks the other day. It's grown back and it's even bigger than ever before. So I'm going to have to pull some of this up again today. Let's get... Oh, it's a bit soggy for me to pull without gloves on, without breaking the stems. So I'll come back and pull some of that in a minute. But you can see it's looking quite nice. It's looking very tasty, and the last lot sure was. So brilliant giant sized leaves there, can't grumble. And sticky buds are taking over in the corner there, so I'm going to have to get up there and get digging. But all looking good, everything's looking good, it's a nice day. So I imagine, as I said, the allotment's going to be really busy in a minute. So I'll record some more footage in a minute and show you the potato planting process. And then hopefully we'll get some very, very late potatoes. And oh look, there's the chives. The chives have come up over there. That's nice, I like those. That's a big plant now. It's about 4 years old, so I'm going to have to rescue that and divide it. But I'll do that later in the year once it's finished growing and when I'm ready to build the herb planters for it. Okay, that's that little plot dug. Now you can see there at the back I'm putting a board. I'm going to put boards all the way along. Again, it helps just to define the boundary between the 2 plots and obviously make it slightly easier to manage. Now I want to show you something in my weed bucket here. It's this grass. Now it looks, to all intents and purposes, it looks like any old innocent grass on the surface, but underneath it's just you find these white runners with you see there, let's just get that hold still. You see that little tip on it like that. You'll find these underground. They're a nightmare. It's called couch grass or cooch grass, depending on who you speak to as to how it's pronounced. It's a voracious weed. It's what's in my strawberries on the other plot that I showed you earlier. And it's an absolute nightmare to get rid of because it grows by putting out these runners under the ground. It sends out in all sorts of directions, and it makes it an absolute nightmare to dig up. You've got to dig the entire plot and get every little bit of root out. Even if a tiny bit of root is left, it will still grow from that. It's a real pig to get rid of. So if you spot any of this, make sure you dig it out, and you dig it out properly, because otherwise it's just going to keep on coming back, and it's really going to take over your plot. It will grow underground, take over a large area of the ground, and then suddenly just pop up the stalks of grass above, and then you know, there's very little you can do if you've got crops in. It's very hard to get out. So when you're digging your plot over, like I've done with this one here, you can see, you know, all the digging there. When you do that, look out for this. If you see it, get it out then and there, because otherwise it's going to be really, really difficult to get out without disturbing your plants. Okay, that's the plot more or less leveled out now, and ready to plant the potatoes. As you can see, I'm completely worn out. I hate raking, and I remember why now. But I've raked it more or less level. Once I've got the other board in along here, I think it'll be a lot easier for me. Now let me just show you the potatoes that we will be planting today. There's two varieties. Let's just... Right, there's this one, whose name escapes me. It's for something or whatever. They're knobbly and tasty apparently. And then there's these ones. These are Purple Majesty. They're purple all the way through, and you can see the leaves there are a purple colour. So these are going to go in the ground now, and all I'll do is I'll remove the ones from the bottom there, so it's just purely focusing on growing upwards. Same with this one. Let's have a look. Get rid of that one at the bottom, and get rid of that one on the side, I think. Now they're all on the top. Let's have a look at this one. That was close enough. They're all more or less facing the same way. This one, just get rid of that one at the bottom. And you see that's looking quite good. These unfortunately have been left a little bit longer than I'd prefer. There's another one, but oh dear. They should do okay, so let's just pull that off. One more. Again, another one, all nice. And there's another one there. Again, plant it that way round and they'll grow upwards. So let's get these in the ground, and then I can go home and have some breakfast hopefully. So right, that's looking good.